Hello and welcome to Brocky Mountain Movies. I'm your host, Rocky Mountain Brock, and welcome back to Brocky Mountain Book Corner, where we will discuss The Orchid Girls by Leslie Sanderson. This book sucks. Yeah, I'm not even going to put it out. This book is terrible. I give it a 0 out, but you want to hear a little more, hopefully. Now, here are the problems with the book. The plot is told between two protagonists. One is an upscale wife of the mayor who runs a food blog and is on the fast track to a life of success. The other is her lesbian best friend who is an alcoholic, and both of them are struggling with their past sins of their friend dying after being thrown off a cliff. It's clearly bothering one a little more than the other. The three girls were called the Orchid Girls due to the matching orchid tattoos on their wrists. That is not really important. In fact, most of the information in this book, 365 pages of it, is completely irrelevant, because this book is like someone who keeps trying to slam on the gas while they have the parking brake on. You end up going absolutely nowhere, because the author, Leslie Sanderson, she interprets the term psychologic thriller as saying the same information over and over again. Seriously, every time you cut back to one of the main characters, they give no new information, and the plot just goes at a snail's pace. It takes forever for anything plot-related to happen, and therefore anything interesting to happen. You already know who the characters are within the first few pages, and they're not exactly changing dramatically through it. I mean, there is a slight idealism that the one who's all healthy is starting to decline in her health, while the other one is trying to stop drinking and trying to be a little more healthy, but that's not really focused on, or even a main plot point. As far as gripping goes, I wanted to put this down a lot of times. Anyone around me knows that I did not enjoy reading this book. It was a friggin' chore to get through all 365 pages. And what's worse is the chapters aren't that long. It's spaced up so that you only have to read a couple pages at a time, but you feel every single one of those pages, and a good book's you're supposed to go through it like a hot knife through butter. Oh, little thing. Grace, Charlotte, and Molly? Yeah, Charlotte's barely in this. She is the inciting incident, the girl who dies, but she is very not important to the story outside of, dying. As far as personality-wise or setting everything in motion, she plays very little in it. And then, of course, there is the twist ending, if you can even call it that. I consider the twist ending something that the writer clearly pulled out of their butt. Why? Because you already have all this information, 360 pages of information talking about it, and this one bit of information, the twist, does not recontextualize anything. If you were to reread it, don't do that because it's hard enough reading this once, it doesn't really recontextualize what's going on. If you reread it and see the killer's point of view, it doesn't exactly reveal anything, or even the things that were kind of building to it or stuff that would have made it interesting, all gone, because you just pulled it out of your butt and you completely changed your writing style after you introduced the twist. You can clearly see that it's not like it's gradually going towards this twist. No, you have the twist, it kind of comes out of nowhere, and then you change writing styles for the rest of it just to support this twist. 365 pages, and you couldn't set up the twist better, or even made the red herrings a little better. Like they have a few red herrings where you try to see where this is going, but you don't know where it's headed because it isn't building to anything. It's a car that keeps slamming on the gas with the parking brake on, which means you're not going anywhere. If you were to drive into something, you wouldn't be heading in any direction. You would just be staying right where you are. So, You don't know where you're going because you're not moving. Not because you're on some back dirt road and you don't recognize anything and you're only going to know what's going to happen when you get there. No, you're just going nowhere and you're like, is something going to happen? And then it does, and then you're disappointed. Oh, but the really funny thing is, at the very back of the book, the author says, write a review. I find that funny. Now, you might be thinking I'm being a little harsh, but here's the thing. With a book, it took me like 2 weeks to actually read this. It's a chore to go through, so I have to say, don't bother. Here's a little interesting thing. I looked up the other reviews just to see how other people saw it. It got like a 3.8, but it turns out this book is $3. So what does that tell you? So, final score for The Orchid Girls. 2 thumbs down, 0. Please do not waste your time with this book, and please read something else. I'm Rocky Mountain Brock, and God bless.